Greetings, Rebel fans. My name is Jason Kelly. This is the Let's Run Breakdown. Held after the collapse that the Rebels had on Saturday to create a little film breakdown for you. I don't do these often because they take a lot of work, and I'm not, frankly, that great at them yet, but I'm working on it. So I wanted to go over some key plays and the Rebels offense to give you a little bit of a feel for how the game went and what we can expect moving forward. The Rebels love running a chin stagger option. It's run by a lot of teams in college basketball, but you'll see that they're trying to get movement at the top of the key to both free up the point guard and lead to possible post-ups. They're trying to get Luis attacking out of space here, but they end up running it into a post-up for Rob, who makes a great pass. Luis kicks it to Keelan, and that is nylon. I'd hope to see that play run a little bit more often, kind of that action, but the Rebels often abandon it for just individual post-up kind of play. My favorite type of action that the Rebels run, you're going to see here right now, is horns. It's either usually Caleb and Rob or Keelan and Rob who come up to the top of the key to get the ball, and usually they are giving it to either Jackie or DJ or Luis to try and attack in space and get to the rim. It's a very good set. Very common in basketball, but there's a reason why so many coaches run it. Here you see it again, except with Rob and Caleb this time. Again, getting Jackie off the dribble. He gets switched onto a bigger defender, and it ultimately leads to a Caleb post-up and a missed Jackie shot, but because of a mismatch, Rob is able to put in the offensive rebound and the basket. I think this team has a Caleb Boone problem. Caleb's a very good player. He's won us multiple games this year. However, his decision-making, his lack of athleticism is hurting the Rebels at times. Here you see him just get absolutely stuffed. He's not the athlete that Rob is, and I think that hurts the team when we keep feeding him post-up after post-up, and when sometimes he just doesn't have it. Caleb gets it here, and really you see he doesn't have the explosiveness to kind of push through or use the physicality like Rob does, and it ends up in an air ball. Here you're going to see a very good pass by Rob over to Luis. And Luis is going to get it down to Caleb, and Caleb gets bailed out here. Luis throws it down to him again, but Caleb gets bailed out. It should have been a turnover. He gets bailed out with a terrible foul call there, but he doesn't have great hands in the post all the time. Here's another post up where Caleb catches the ball too close to the baseline and isn't a good passer and gets rushed and ends up being a terrible turnover. And then again at the end of this play, he's just loose with the ball, and it leads to a Reno score. This is where UNLV had a great chance to kind of take control of the game. DJ gets off of a Rob screen, gets iced at the top of the key, and instead of panicking, he calmly makes it to the middle of the court and finds Jackie for a great three-point look. But I know that you have come here to see me talk about the collapse, and we're going to do that right now. So, Reno gets the ball back, and Reno kind of swings the ball around, gets it to Davidson eventually. And I think that Rob, maybe this is inexperience, he is a junior, but Rob gets suckered into a very bad foul call here. Davidson gets position on him. That's just a lack of awareness by Rob. And I think if Rob had been maybe a little more on his toes, he could have prevented that. Then they make both free throws. We get the ball going back down the other way. Again, we get a double high ball screen. This is a play that the Rebels like to run a lot for DJ, kind of to give him the ball in space and see if he can attack. I think Jackie ultimately takes pretty much the only look. He tries to attack off the dribble. There's nothing there. Jackie gets the ball, gets an okay look at it, but just doesn't get anywhere close to making it. Not a terrible look, but not great either. Here you see another double high ball screen. And this one, it's a good set to attack in space. Caleb makes an okay pass there. Keelan ends up getting the ball and is able to attack the defender who is on his off foot. Now, we all know that Keelan goes to the free throw line and misses both of these free throws in a choke job by the fifth-year senior. Really bad. Here's some awful defense and awareness by Keelan. Obviously, he's trying to prevent the guard, Foster here, but he just forgets his man Davidson and is so scared of fouling that he's not playing physical at all. I mean, Keelan had 4 fouls at this point, and I understand that he doesn't want to foul out of the game, but every point counts at the end of games, and sometimes you just have to play hard defense, even at the risk of you fouling out. DJ gets an okay look here. Again, here's another double high ball screen that leads into a Caleb and DJ pick and roll. DJ uses good change of pace to get to the rim. It's kind of a tough look, but he could have made it. Nothing wrong with that shot at all. Next, going into the game, we have just the worst defense I've ever seen by Caleb Boone. So watch Caleb Boone, number 10 here, and Keelan Boone. Both of them just refused to. Keelan was clearly calling for help on that play because he didn't want to foul out of the game. But at some point, you just can't let the other team score and get closer to your very fragile lead. So just bad defense by the both of them. I think that this play kind of exemplifies UNLV's just lack of shooting in general. Caleb makes an okay pass out of a double to Luis, who's wide open, and airballs it. Luis, who is one of the worst three-point shooters in college basketball, is just awful. And then Keelan, again, not wanting to foul out. You think the coach would maybe tell him, hey, you just got to play defense. It doesn't matter if you foul out. Just gives up a driving layup. Kruger calls a timeout, and we get a really questionable play call in my eyes here. What we get is a high-low action. I don't like taking the ball out of DJ's hands, as he's basically been the best player on the court. But Coach Kruger calls for a switch down low to try and get Rob the ball attacking in space. But Caleb Boone, along with his brother Keelan Boone, was just an absolute head case and threw the pass way too hard and way too early. Here you get I don't know that it was a great call, but at the end of the day, I think that Jackie was more preoccupied with trying to get a steal as opposed to playing good defense. So if you watch, Davidson's going to catch the ball on the baseline. Jackie's going to come around for the steal. Instead of focusing on defense and kind of standing his ground, he tries to run through Davidson and steal the ball, and it ends up in 2 more free throws and Reno taking the lead. Not a great look. Kind of a flop, but ultimately I don't think it was a bad call by the officials. It was probably a foul. We get a clutch DJ basket where, again, you get just a high ball screen, which is the right play call here. A high ball screen by Caleb and DJ. DJ attacks to the middle of the court and scores. That was great to see, and I think that at the end of games, last 3-minute scenarios, that really should be our primary offense, not that stupid high-low action. Here you get just the Rebels were out-rebounded 41-20 on their home court. I think a lot of that has to do with Caleb Boone just not being a very physical player on the defensive end. But here you see Rob. Rob's not huge. He doesn't have great size. He gets an offensive rebound. Reno gets an offensive rebound, and it really killed the Rebels. Now DJ is going to, again, the right call, get a high ball screen, attack the middle of the paint in space. He draws a foul, but as we all know, DJ would go on to miss both free throws, and eventually the game would be it'd be over. I'm actually not sure that was a great call by the officials there, as I'm not sure what Davidson really could have done. But, DJ got to the line, he missed both free throws, and just not a great look. So, ultimately, what are the takeaways for this game? So, I think that the Boones are a bit of an issue. They're not consistent players. They're kind of head cases. I'd say the same thing about Luis Rodriguez, but they don't always play with consistent effort. When they're on, they're really on, but they often kind of struggle. Kruger played kind of a slow-down brand of basketball. Wasn't really willing to attack on the break at the end of games, and this is something you saw with Dave Rice. It really kills you. And there was a lack of attention to detail. I think that Caleb and Keelan both playing soft defense, afraid of foul trouble. I think one of the coaches should have gotten in their face and said, hey, you have to be okay with fouling out. You can't let them score. You got to be willing to bench Caleb going down at the end of these games. Sometimes if he's turning the ball over and just not playing well, you got to be willing to sit I know that technically he's one of our best players, but you got to be willing to sit him. If the coach coaches timid, I think the players are going to play timid. And ultimately, the lack of three-point shooting, the failure of Justin Webster this year, the failure of Luis to be even somewhat consistent from the three, it is really killing the Rebels. But, the season's not technically over. I did predict that the Rebels would lose this game and win at Reno. I'm hoping they beat Air Force, but we'll see. So thanks for watching, and let's run.